What's going on, everybody? My name is Anomaly. If you don't already know, you can follow me on this page on Twitter at Legendary Energy. That's correct. Twitter, Legendary Energy. Instagram, Dream Rare. And on Facebook, Anomaly, A and 0, M-A-L-Y. I'm going to keep talking like this to stall for 10 seconds so people get into the live stream. And I'm going to just do a rapid fire live stream today about 3 events that everybody's talking about, which is Trump and James Comey, the George Clooney selling his tequila, and the Russia Council again. So I'll start with the George Clooney story. He owns a company with another partner or multiple people, I'm not quite sure, but Casamigos Tequila, and he recently sold the company for upwards of $1 billion, while his shares of it will be around, I believe, $233 million. And this is excellent. I'm very happy to see people do well. So I'm excited to see how many refugees that George Clooney houses, because he's a big Democrat, he's a big Hillary Clinton supporter, and he's very vocal about the refugee situation. So I'm very excited to see how many refugees he can house. It's going to be a really exciting event. I would think that with all of the celebrity friends that have no concept of the Middle East or the fact that we're in a war right now, we're literally starting a Cold War with Russia for the first time, since the 1900s, because we're in the 2000s now. It wasn't that long ago, but you get what I'm saying. I would think that all of those celebrities could come together and find a way to create safe zones and create shelter for refugees, because they have billions of dollars from all of the people, but those people seem to never really contribute to the solutions. They just make the problems bigger. And to that I want to say I have a lot of love. I've mentioned the refugee situation a bunch of times. I have a lot of love for, obviously, refugees who are fleeing their country. They should be protected and saved, but what other people don't realize, I don't understand how, it could not be more obvious, but people don't realize that we're in this crazy, creepy war, that we're in 7 countries, we're bombing 7 countries. No, it didn't start with Donald Trump. It started with George Bush, went into the Middle East, started dropping bombs in 2 countries, and now we're dropping bombs in 7 different countries. And a lot of people will say, well, we're just doing this, we're just dropping bombs in the country, it's not war. And my one friend had a really good analogy for that. He said, imagine if we only dropped 10 bombs or 26,000 bombs anywhere in the United States. Would we be at war if 10 bombs dropped? Oh, it's just 10 bombs in Hawaii. Or no, Connecticut just got bombed 10 times. We're not at war, though. No, we're definitely at war. Anytime bombs are dropped, there's war. Just because we're desensitized to the Middle East because it doesn't fit into your political, whatever agenda, doesn't mean we're not at war. We're definitely at war. We're now shooting down Syrian aircrafts. So to prevent a situation like in the 1900s when Franklin Roosevelt was creating internment camps for Japanese people, and we start turning and persecuting our own people in America, to prevent a situation like that, while we have the chance, why would we not temporarily block refugees from coming in? It's completely idiotic. People like George Clooney and a lot of people on the left-leaning side, that they're saying, no, we need to just let all the refugees in. Why? So we could end up like, London and Europe, where there's bombs and explosions happening every week, and then, knowing the United States, we would all freak out and then turn on people and then have a nightmare situation. Why not just temporarily ban for a year? People make it out to be racist, xenophobic. Nothing about it is racist and xenophobic. It's just logical. It's completely idiotic. The fact that people can't realize that up to half the country now is considered, below or near the poverty line. 50% of America is below or near the poverty line. Veterans are the #1 homeless group. There's homeless veterans all over the place. There's a medical system in the United States that if you get sick, you pretty much go bankrupt and lose your money with or without health care. People are going bankrupt in the United States with healthcare. We have millions of problems. Nobody seems to care about veterans. Nobody seems to care about themselves. Nobody seems to care about the fact that about 50% of people in the United States are near the poverty line. That's not a concern to people, but people are like, let's bring over refugees from these countries that I've never even heard of. And I had no idea that Barack Obama's America was dropping bombs on, and President Trump's America continues to drop bombs in those countries. So It's stupid. So George Clooney, take your $233 million and please build some safe spaces for Syrian, Somalian, and Yemeni refugees, because they could definitely use your help. Bringing them to the United States is not the greatest idea at this point, not because of xenophobia or racism, but because of the fact we have 7 or 8 different wars in the Middle East. We have us funding Qatar or Qatar. We have us funding Saudi Arabia. We have Iran. We funded Iran last year, and now we're shooting down Iranian drones. The Middle East right now currently is a war zone, a literal war zone, and it's being, getting more and more extreme as days go on. So why would you bring in 100,000 people from a war zone where a lot of people literally want to destroy Western civilization? It's just the truth. To me, that's logical, that's easy. The social justice thing to do would be to create a safe space for these people, stop dropping bombs on these people in their homes, and not bring them here. That's the social justice solution to me. But a bunch of fake liberals and fake social justice warriors in America, like George Clooney, have billions and billions of dollars, have all of America's money, yet their mouth moves and their wallets never move. So George Clooney, get a coalition of all your celebrity friends who shill for the Democratic Party and make fake news, and create a bunch of mansions so refugees can live better lives than me. That's my thought there. So congrats, George Clooney. Use that money. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's see what you're about. Now I want to move to the situation. It's trending in the news, although it absolutely doesn't matter. And once again, to me, it's completely obvious. I guess other people really are mind controlled. Rest in peace, prodigy of Mobb Deep. He was one of the first people to say, Illuminati got my mind, soul, and my body, secret society, trying to keep their eye on me. In the 90s, that was a very revolutionary lyric. Prodigy from Mobb Deep has passed, so rest in peace, prodigy. But on to the Russia hearings. Okay, President Trump tweeted today that he doesn't have tapes of James Comey, that he didn't record tapes of James Comey, but what he was saying was, well, everything's being recorded right now, so maybe they have the tapes because everything's being recorded. Once again, a perfect situation of Donald Trump making complete sense, saying, I didn't personally record James Comey, but everyone's being recorded at all times, so maybe somebody has the tapes. Makes complete sense to me. I don't see how people don't understand it. But of course, that's the #1 news, and people are like, see, look, President Trump lied, he didn't record it. It's like, you can't win with these people. If he would have recorded a situation with James Comey, people would have been saying, oh my goodness, he recorded him, that's crazy, even though the whole country's literally being recorded and nobody seems to notice or care. That's the definition of brainwashed. That's why when I say people are zombies, I really do. I feel like I'm in a video game where everybody else's characters turned off because they're just completely mind controlled, to the fact where Donald Trump says, oh, I didn't record him, but everyone's being recorded at all times, which is a known fact now. It's not a conspiracy anymore. It's a known, published fact by all of the major news sources, all of the independent news sources. It's a fact. Smartphones are recording. Samsung smart TVs are recording. Computers are recording. They have the technology to record at all times. And a lot of the intelligence agencies, Edward Snowden showed and Julian Assange showed, that they're actually gathering data on everybody at all times. I mean, it's nothing to be paranoid about. It's whatever. It's an overload of data anyway. I wouldn't worry about it. But to sit there and pretend like you're dumbfounded when President Trump says something, like CNN's like, I watched CNN the other day and they were like, Donald Trump suggested that President Obama spied on him. How crazy is that? President Trump said that Obama spied on him. That's crazy. What a mean, bad dummy. What an idiot. Hello, everybody's being spied on at all times. It's a literal fact. And you have people like CNN leading a bunch of zombies like, oh, how dare Donald Trump for saying that he got spied on. It's a known fact. I mean, all of the unmasking stuff with Susan Rice and the evidence that they were finding, that not only is everyone being spied on, but specifically Obama was spying on political opponents like Donald Trump. using his powers of spying to spy on the German Chancellor, Angela Merkel. Google it. Obama spies on Angela Merkel. Congress was spied on. Everyone's being spied on, and it's not a hidden secret. It's literally not a conspiracy. People, no, who do you think you are, Alex? This is not, none of this is a conspiracy. It's all published in major news publications. People are just too dumb to put the pieces together. So Obama takes the unmasking and all of that information and he puts it in his library. Just a blatant in your face, like no one's paying attention. But anyway, so all of the news now is saying that Trump said he didn't record Comey's conversation. This is a huge distraction, as is everything, because that's how dumb people are. This is like mainstream news. Trump didn't record. It's all just a smokescreen. No one cares. Even if he did record, everything's being recorded anyway. And he was making an implication that, hey, everyone's being recorded. So once again, Trump makes sense. But what that's truly hiding up, because that's a bunch of nonsense news, doesn't matter. What is hiding is President Trump's other tweet where he made a lot of sense, which progressives have been saying for a year now, and nobody's been listening to progressives and Bernie Sanders supporters. And once again, Donald Trump stands up for progressives and Bernie Sanders supporters more than Bernie Sanders himself does. I mean, it's just a fact. You can't deny it. If you like Bernie Sanders, who's the one standing up against the DNC and telling the truth about the DNC? Is it Bernie Sanders? No, he hasn't said a word about it in over a year. It's Donald Trump who tweeted today about the DNC, and he said the DNC never let the FBI look at their servers. It's a huge scandal. And think about it. I want you, regardless of your political spectrum, to think about what happened, because to me it's mind-blowingly stupid that people are still playing along with it. You have the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, whose emails leaked. John Podesta of the DNC of Hillary Clinton's campaign, his emails leaked, and their response was saying Russia hacked them. They told everybody Russia hacked them. So you would think their servers, they must have gave their servers over to the FBI and over to agencies to look at this stuff, or at least somebody that's in the know. They must have given their servers to somebody, right, to figure out if it got hacked or not. No, they never gave their servers to the FBI. So they've convinced half of America that Russia hacked their servers, but they never allowed the FBI or any other agency. I think they had one affiliate agency that they knew. It was like their friends. They're like, here, look at this stuff and then report on it. It wasn't a third party. It was someone that they were contracted to. That's the biggest scandal out right now. How can you convince half of America that Russia hacked you, but you won't let anybody look at your servers or do any analytics on it? I mean, the setup, the con is so blatantly obvious. It's so blatantly obvious, and Trump tweeted about it, but you'll never hear that because the mainstream media, all of these magazines, all of these politicians, their goal is not to liberate you. Their goal is not to feed you healthy food. Their goal is to feed you terrible food. Their goal is not to make you healthy. Their goal is to make you sick. Their goal is not to give you knowledge and wisdom and love. Their knowledge, their agenda is to gain power. So anytime that Donald Trump says something honest and accurate, they tell you it's the opposite just to lead you in the wrong direction. Is everything Trump says honest and accurate? No, I'm very critical of him. There's a lot of things that he does that I'm like, no. But when he does say something truthful, it's not in their best interest to tell you, oh, everyone's being spied on, or oh yeah, it is a huge scandal that the DNC didn't give their server over. How are you allowed to use all the media sources, all the politicians, to convince half of America that Russia hacked you, but you won't let anybody investigate it? I mean, how obvious is that? It's like your house getting robbed. It's like literally your entire house getting robbed. And then the police come over and the investigators and say, hey, can we check out the fingerprints and the scene of the evidence? And you say, no. No, you can't check out my house. You can't check out any of the evidence. You can't check out the fingerprints. You can't check out anything that has to do with the robbery. But now, since I control the news sources, I'm going to blast out to the whole world that Japan did it. I'm going to blame Japan. But we're the police. Can we investigate the crime scene? Can we investigate your house? Can we look at the fingerprints and the data and the servers? No. You can't look at it. You can't investigate it. I'm going to show no proof of it. but I'm going to broadcast to the whole world and tell them that. How does that make sense? And that's what's going on now with the James Comey stuff, with the Russia hearing. It's the biggest fraud and the biggest, singular piece of organized propaganda in modern history. That's hard to say because so many things have been lied about that it's hard to even keep track anymore. But I don't understand how intelligent people don't understand this. I'll call them, I don't think anybody's dumb, but for the sake, intelligent dummies, where it's like, I got my Harvard degree, I got my arts degree, I got my Dartmouth degree, I'm a scientist, I'm a doctor, I'm a, progressive thinker, I'm a liberal. So then you don't have to use your critical thinking brain anymore. It's like, you're dumber than me, so I can, just because you think you're smarter than President Trump, that's makes sense, that's fine. But does that mean that all logic, all facts, and all reality goes out the window just because you hate somebody? No. That's the opposite of being intelligent. That's called cognitive dissonance. That's called letting your emotions completely distract any sort of progress for America or the world to make. Because by being dishonest about the refugee situation, by being dishonest about who really runs America, by being dishonest about spying, by being dishonest about the Russia situation and the fact that the DNC is completely lying about multiple things, it's not going to liberate anybody. It's not going to help refugees. It's not going to help American people. It's not going to help gay people and underprivileged people in the United States. It's actually going to hurt them. And that's the whole reason I broadcast these things. It's a little bit of the blunt truth, the honest truth. People might not want to hear, but I'm going to keep saying it because reality's not going to change just because you have cognitive dissonance. The opposite is happening at a very, very, very quick rate. And it's going to keep happening. And the only way to solve it is by being realistic and being honest. Just because you have college degrees, just because you're an intelligent person, just because you're a liberal, just because you care about the environment, just because you care about social justice, just because you put yourself on a pedestal and think you're a better person than others, that's fine. Be a better person than others. I challenge everybody, be the best person you could be. That would be a great competition, but you don't become a better person by putting other people down, by lying about politics, and by just blindly hating Trump. Blindly hating Trump is no better than blindly hating Obama. It's the same thing. If you blame Obama for everything in the Obama administration, you're no better. Did I agree with Obama? I think some of the most dangerous things that Obama did was the fact that he had everybody asleep. Just his mentality and the fact that he was so smart and so knowledgeable and so cool and so different that he had everybody in a coma just not paying attention. That's why he was most dangerous. But it's no different with Trump. It just creates a polarizing thing. And for the 100th time, this is not a sports game. Politics is not a sports game. It's not I pick this side, and clash. That's what they want people to do. And that's exactly what happens. And I find it funny that liberals and conservatives kind of just did a 360. When Obama was president, conservatives just blamed him for everything and, didn't think about the deep state and didn't think about the media and didn't think about any of this stuff. Maybe some did, some didn't. I'm not going to paint everybody with a broad brush. And liberals were a little more aware, or maybe some of them weren't. They weren't paying attention. But a weird shift happens where all the intelligent people, and all the free thinkers, all of a sudden now they're the closed-minded people that now they pretend like they don't know anything. Now people that are liberal and progressive, now they pretend like they don't know anything about technology, they don't know anything about America and how it's founded and the media systems and the fact that the corporations own everything. How did this happen? It happens because people have way too much ego, way too much pride. And I'm sorry, a college degree does not teach you about ego. A college degree does not teach you about pride. A college degree does not teach you about free thinking. It actually does the opposite. So while education is extremely, extremely important, you can't just sit on top of your degrees and your accomplishments and think it's going to make the world a better place. And that's what I see happening right now. And every news source, when I turn on Twitter, it's pure propaganda and garbage. When Snapchat news, pure propaganda and garbage. A lot of the Facebook trending stuff, pure propaganda and garbage. A lot of the mainstream media sources on TV, pure propaganda and garbage. A lot of the trusted news sources that has pretty much a monopoly on the flow of information when it comes to internet news publications. Pure propaganda and trash. And this is me coming from, a side of, I like the environment, I like social justice, but the fix is in. I see the fix. A lot of progressives see the fix. The conservatives see the fix. And to that, I'll end it, as always, as saying, let's unite and talk a little bit, because, it's getting ridiculous to the fact that all of this news is constantly being blasted at us. We argue this and that. I'm over it, Independent news sources are on the rise. Communication's on the rise. Stop supporting these, divisive politicians and news sources, or do what you want. I won't control you or judge you. Just be free thinking and open-minded. Don't let the media control your mind. And that's what they've been doing for 100 years, and it's no different now. Even though the internet's free, when you're blasted with propaganda on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, New York Times, and then everybody starts talking about it, and then they talk about it on their social media, that's the pure definition of mind control. And I want to end on the note of Prodigy from Mobb Deep, hip-hop legend who passed away recently, very intellectual, very spiritual, very next-level thinker. He talked about all of this stuff. So I want to say to the hip-hop community, I find it very ironic, just to end on this note, I find it ironic that the hip-hop community is, not all of it. Most hip-hop is free thinking. It taught me a lot. But the vibe in the hip-hop community now is like just hate Trump and blindly hate Trump. That is the mind control. Hating Trump blindly is the mind control. Prodigy for Mobb Deep, he wasn't a Trump fan. I don't want you to be a Trump fan or supporter, but Prodigy knew what was really going on. He knew about the division. He knew about divide and conquer. He knew about, the true powers that be that are really controlling the world. So since everybody on social media now is talking about Prodigy, as they should be, because he's a hip-hop pioneer and a legend, I implore you to listen to some of his interviews, listen to some of his conversations, and listen to who he really was as an artist and a person, because the world right now is mourning his loss, and the hip-hop community especially. Please listen to him, because our bright minds in hip-hop, as well as the world, are the ones who, keep the light alive and keep the light shining bright. And we're in the best times ever to be alive right now. Those are my thoughts on George Clooney getting $233 million and $1 billion. The James Comey news, that's a huge distraction. Why the Russia Council is the biggest piece of propaganda in modern U.S. history, and why what Trump is saying about the spying stuff is completely right, and what he's saying about the DNC is 100% right. That is the biggest scandal in America right now. The problem is everybody's so brainwashed and such zombies, like they're been controlled, where they're like, did Comey release the memo or not? And they're just missing the huge thing of information about the DNC, not allowing the FBI or anybody to check their servers. That's like your house getting robbed, all of your stuff getting stolen, the crook leaving fingerprints all over your house, and then not letting the police come into your house to investigate. It's the biggest scandal out right now. Thank goodness we have somebody talking about it. Have an amazing day. Thank you for joining. I'm going to post my link below if you want to fuel the movement. Keep it going strong. I appreciate your love, your support, your likes, your comments, and your shares. Let's keep growing. Let's keep building. And also, let's keep expanding. The more people like me who come out, speak their mind, speak their truth, speak their soul, the better and the safer it gets for everybody. So hopefully you're inspired in any part of your life, any aspect of your life, no matter what you do, if it's related to news or not. Just bring out the best in you, bring out the good energy, be nice to people, have a conversation with somebody, spark the love back up, because it's a very vibrant thing. It's electric. It can happen very quickly if a collective group of people really spread those vibes out to the world. So much love. Have a good week. I'll be back.